A claim has been circulating about a book allegedly approved by the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council for JSS1 students that teaches abortion with explicit images. This has understandably caused outrage among parents and guardians, igniting a debate on what type of educational material is being introduced to children at such a formative age. Now, if this claim is true, it raises significant questions about the oversight and responsibility of the NERODC and, of course, the education system. The primary concern here isn't just about the content of the book, but the broader issue of moral corruption within the system, where ethical boundaries may be crossed in the name of education. Now, teaching such sensitive topics to young students without proper context or guidance could lead to misunderstanding and even harm. And of course, there's been a trend of young people, getting involved in abortion here and there. But also seeing, a book that is being designed, written, and approved, well, allegedly approved for JSS1 students that teaches abortion with explicit images. I mean, you could see the step-by-step guide looking at the image directly. Dr. Champion, JSS1 students, they're quite very young. Yeah. Some of them are, lesser than 13, or let's say 13, 14, or even 10, 11, 12, perhaps, But seeing that, images like this, topic like this has been exposed to them, what's your thought?
Okay, thank you very much. There are two ways to look at a coin. Every coin has both sides. Much as I want to look at the public outrage, parents condemning this, of course, especially with the emphasis on the explicit images. Yes, to young minds. But I want to look at it from another angle, from the angle of sex education. All right. Much as I agree with you that JSS1 people are very young, but of course you've heard not too young to run. All right, just kidding. Basically, young people these days are not as young as we think they are. You give your phone to a 1-year-old, give your phone to a 1 year, 6 months, and she begins to search for cartoon. Like a man said to me, his friend also brought in a particular phone from America. He was struggling with it. And his young child, less than 10, opened up the phone and started teaching him that, sit down, let me show you the way, you understand? So the thing is, young people know more than we think that they know. So I believe that what the government is trying to do on the flip side of the coin is a kind of sex education, all right, which they feel that it should commence from JSS1, which is the entry point for secondary education, all right? Unfortunately, what we don't know is that what we fail to teach our children publicly, they will definitely learn it privately. Do you understand? Remember those days when we were growing up, they would say, especially the girl child, that if a boy touches you, you get pregnant. Yeah, right. These were erroneous beliefs, but young people actually grew up with them. Do you understand? Because they feel that, okay, truly, don't touch me. If you touch me, I will become pregnant. All right, but guess what? We touched a lot of girls and they were not pregnant. Yeah. Pregnancy doesn't come by touching. Okay, so but eventually some of them started trying to explore ways they could get pregnant since it's not by touching. So the problem with half-truths is that the person you are talking to may get hold of the wrong half. You understand? So half-truths are even worse than a lie. Okay, so my point here is this. What the government is looking at it in terms of education. All right, now, I think it's now left for parents, guardians, teachers to sit down with these people and say to them that these are choices if you make, these are the consequences. Basically, one thing I know about young people is this, having worked with them for a long time. If you don't guide them, they will be misled by peers. There's definitely peer pressure everywhere. And just like I said initially, the sex education we talk about, most times we shy away from it. Even parents don't even sit down to discuss sex education with their young one, the boy child, the girl child. And sometimes, even when they do, they talk to the girl child, especially when she has puberty signs. And they say, okay, this means this means that. But what about the boy child? Most times, it's difficult to even say, apart from 2 conferences I've personally held, you understand, educating the boy child. It's difficult to hear people say, I want to educate the boy child, the man child. The focus is on the girl child. And of course, even this Friday is International Day of the Girl Child.
That's right.
So it shows that I'm current. You get, so my point here is this. We need to understand how to draw the lines. What the government is trying to say is let's educate them. The people that we have committed into their custody, now it's your duty to guide them. Tell them that if you go this pathway, you are likely to have this. See, choices have consequences regardless. Having a book doesn't make you a sinner. Having a book of sin, let me put that more explicit, doesn't make you a sinner.
But
having a book of crime
doesn't make you up to those
it gives you, no, it doesn't open you up.
It gives
no.
you access. It educates you about some of those
education,
things.
I agree, but it doesn't open you up. Opening up has to do with your day-to-day interaction with your peers, what you see on social media. That is the access. So the education should guide against making wrong decisions when you are faced with such. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I'm not saying, I'm looking at the fact of educating them. Do you understand?
Right.
Because if you don't educate, see, somebody said to me a long time ago, he said, if you don't train them, don't blame them.
Okay.
Do you understand?
That makes sense.
That's where I'm coming from. If you don't train them, don't blame them. If you don't say to your, I've heard of a young person that he left his car keys carelessly, and the boy took the car key and drove into his compound wall. Do you understand? Sit with your child and say, hey, you've been watching daddy start this car. Don't try it, because if you try it, you can have an accident, you can kill yourself, or kill other people.
But going back to the abortion gist,
yeah.
But do you think as well that JSS1 is the right age for this kind of content to be taught to these young girls?
Yeah, I feel yes. I've seen JSS1. I've seen a JSS1 person having to do an abortion. There's a certain case I once have somewhere here in Lagos where that person was even impregnated by a carpenter. And it's because every time she leaves school, she's always passing through his shop, and the man sounded nice. I'm talking about having a young person being impregnated by like a 70-year-old. If you don't train these people, don't blame them. See, I've been with young people for long. I'm not even minding words about that. I've seen their pitfalls. I've seen their vulnerability. Do you understand? So if you are not ready to guide them, don't blame them when it happens. So the point here is, JSS1 is the entry point for secondary education. You start from the entry point. Why wait until they have learned a whole lot of rubbish, then they get to SS3 or SS2, and you're not trying to help them to unlearn? Don't forget that they say you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. So the best time is, one day I had a police conference with some security people, and I was saying to the police people there, I said, your job basically is to catch them and try to repair them. I said, my NGO does not repair people, we prepare them.
Right.
If you prepare somebody, there's no need for repair. Do you understand? So in life, basically, preparation will always win over a cry for repair. Most times when we talk about rehabilitation, it's because somebody failed to prepare someone. Or even somebody tried to prepare someone and the person failed to be prepared. Either way. So I'm looking at the point of education. Let's educate our young people. Let's say to them that this is the way to go. Because if you don't say that to them publicly, if you don't say that in schools, if you don't say that in churches, if you don't say that at home, they will go out there and meet a certain boyfriend, a certain girlfriend, and they begin to be misled.
That's right.
Let me shock you. I've seen people celebrate Valentine. I mean, primary school people. And it was very obnoxious to me. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And they said to me that, what's wrong with celebrating Valentine? I'm talking about primary school.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I've seen cases whereby there were even alleged courtesy in a primary 6 of a certain school many years ago.
Of course.
You get, so you sit down and tell them, say no to courtesy, say no to bullying, or part of the case of bullying. I was in a particular school yesterday, and this case of bullying also came up again. And I was saying to them, that was even in JSS2, and I was saying to them about the science of bullying. Do you understand? Of course, and they've never heard it before, and that is a secondary school. Do you understand what I'm going to? So somewhere, a girl later came to me and said, oh, look at the science this person is doing to her. I said, this is an example of bullying.
Right.
You understand? So if you don't train them, don't blame them.